Hi, I'm Tim Andrews from the Kalamazoo Valley Antique Engine Club. I'm the president of the club. And because this year we were not able to have a tractor show, we thought it would be wise maybe to go around and talk to some of our club members and see if they could show us their collection and talk about it a little bit. It's not as good as a show, but it's the next best thing. And so I thought this morning I would start out with my own small collection here, and then we'll visit some more people during the course of the day. First off is a 2510 John Deere that I own, and this has particular interest to me because this tractor was bought brand new by my dad in 1968. I watched him unload it off the truck, and it pretty much was my tractor as much as it was his. And so when my dad had his sale on the farm, when he quit farming, our next door neighbor bought this tractor. And later on in years, when he decided to quit farming, I was able to purchase it back. And so since then I've restored it. Like I say, it was around 7 years ago I think I purchased it and restored it. And I still use this tractor quite a bit. It's just so handy. So it just means a lot to me, and it will never leave our family again, I can guarantee you that. My kids have already told me that. This 530 is a LP gas tractor, 1958 model. I purchased this probably about 10, 12 years ago. And it just so happens that my brother, who's in our club, also has a 530 LP just like this one. And we purchased that one about 5 years later, and these two tractors are consecutive in serial numbers. And so to have that kind of luck for brothers to be able to buy two tractors that are consecutive in serial number is just amazingly strange. It's just amazing how these things work out. So we both restored both of them. They're pretty much identical tractors. Cute little thing. It's great for shows, and it's great for tractor drives and all that kind of stuff. It's real quiet and runs real smooth. With it being LP, they just are really easy on fuel, and they're also real clean running. So the engines hardly ever wore out in the things because they just ran so clean. So just amazed how old this is, and to my knowledge, this tractor has not been overhauled. So it still starts and runs good, so I have no intentions of overhauling it as long as it's working good. But we have a lot of fun with this little tractor here out at the shows. And then the last tractor that I own is another 2510, very similar to the first one. It's the same year. They're only about, I don't know, 300-400 serial numbers apart, so they're very close in the same, certainly was made in the same year. I purchased this just last year from a couple up in Delton, and so I went ahead and restored this tractor as well and got it all in shape, and I had to overhaul the engine, and so I'm in the process of breaking it in right now. So I've been using it quite a bit. I dynoed it, and I've been using it around the farm and stuff to get it broke in, but it seems to be working quite well, and I'm very happy with the way it turned out. This one here, like I say, I like the other one so much that when I saw this one come up for sale, I thought I got to have another one. They're just so handy to get on and off and use, and great for doing, you know, small work around the farm. So I bought this one and have really had a great time with it. Was hoping to be able to take it to the show this year, but unfortunately that didn't work out. So this is the next best thing. But certainly you can be assured that next year when we have a show, it will be there. All of these tractors will be there. And who knows, maybe another one by then. We'll just have to wait and see. So we'll go from here, and we're going to visit a few other people today and let them tell their stories about their tractors, and then we'll wrap it up at the end and we'll see how it goes.
This is an early 40s Oliver 60 Standard. I picked this up from Gordy Mitchell, who restored it about 30 years ago. There was 200 of them done over Eau Claire or Benton Harbor area, and what they did is they cut the steering wheels down, they cut the seats down, they changed the pedals. It's really quite a monster of a little tractor to drive. It's hard to shift and not easy to get off and on, and and the lights are put down lower instead of up on the fenders. And it was just made so they wouldn't catch branches and stuff like any orchard tractor would have been. But Oliver never had an orchard tractor in the 60s series, so this is what this is, a 4-cylinder. They're about 18.5 horsepower. They pull real well. Well, this was Gordy Mitchell's parade tractor, and Gordy's getting up in age, and I heard he was selling some of his tractors, and this umbrella actually was bought for him for a Christmas present, I think by his son, or it's what I understand. And finally, after I bought the tractor, he said, heck, the umbrella's got to go with it. So that's how I ended up with the Oliver umbrella, but it's a reproduction. Well, it's an Oliver, so all you got to do is pull a button and choke it, and they usually go. You know, you just sit there. They're usually pretty easy starting. Once in a while, you get one, you know, a starter or something's dragging and you need them rebuilt, but battery goes bad. But if I put non-alcohol fuel in them, usually they'll sit all winter, and in the spring they fire right up. So that's the main thing with this one. Things I didn't mention, it's got no exhaust hardly sticking up above the hood, and everything was tried to keep so low. This would have been on steel when it was original. I forgot to tell you that. If you look, it's got spoke wheels, and those would have been steel wheels when it was built. So, and they cut them down and put rubber on for almost all of them that they built like this. They said came steel, and they switched them to rubber. What they told me was that steel wheels are hard on the grapevines and stuff when you're too close to them, you know, because, oh, you know, they were 4-inch lugs on these things, you know, they really bit in. So they were called tiptoe steel on the Oliver, and some of the others had their own name, you know. Everybody invented their own name for their steel wheels, but Oliver's name was Tiptoe.
Hi, my name is Art Vanderboer. I own these two Farmall H's. This one is a 1950. This one is a 1946. This one here was one we purchased in Dowagiac, Michigan, trailered it home. It was in very rough shape, had been misused, set outside a lot. So when I bought this tractor, I really needed something as a pattern. So I bought this 50 tractor, which is completely restored. It was already done. Somebody else had done this over in East Leroy. So I purchased that tractor so that we had an actual pattern that we could actually use, and I knew everything would be able to duplicate off that tractor to make this tractor the way it is. My son and I stripped this all the way down. It was just a frame with the motor and the rear end in it when we got done. We soda blasted the tractor, repainted it all by hand. That is all hand painted tractor. I've owned it for about 4 years. This one here we've owned for about 3 years, the 50. And like I said, they're both Farmall H's. I only use them just to go on tractor rides and parades. That's all I do with them. I don't do anything else with them. 26 horsepower is 24 on the drawbar. They're 5 speeds. They run about 13 to 14 mile an hour on the open road if you run them wide open in 5th gear. They would pull a 2-bottom plow. I've never plowed with either one of them, but they will do that. I have seen articles in magazines where they're pulling a 2-bottom plow. Farmall made the H for a long time, from 1939 to 1953. Then they went to the Super H. The 1950 here has a magneto ignition on it. The 1946 over here has a point ignition and condenser and coil on top. You can see that's the older style. This is converted. This is the new way they did it with the magnetos.
I'm Doug Springer. I'm going to show you my 47A that came from the neighborhood, not too far away, about probably a mile from here. It's a 47, all fuel, and it's still in its work clothes because I every now and then get a chance to plow with it. Mechanically, I have not done very much to it, just put some new tires on it. It's always run pretty good, and just the way I want to keep it, just like this. I'm guessing that somewhere with the all fuel, it's around a 28 horse. When it's a gasoline, then they're closer to 35. So I'm guessing 28, 27, something like that. It'll pull 3 plows in real good soil, and it's better to have 2. So, and I do plow with it. Starting procedures, this has petcocks on it. It is electric start. It's a 6 volt starter with a 12, it's been converted to 12 volt. I've got an alternator on it, which someday I'll replace with the correct generator. But there's petcocks on both sides, which I'll open this side and I'll come over and open the other side. It's got a distributor on it, which is not, which was added later. And I have a quarter turn for the gasoline. I always shut the gasoline off on my tractors. I make sure it's in neutral, flip the key on, and with any luck at all, she'll fire up. Pretty simple process. Dual fuel, I've never burned anything but gasoline in it. Could be harder to see from this side, but I have 2 tanks on it. It's got a starting tank, which was used with gasoline, and then the main fuel tank was an all fuel, which they burnt distillate, or I guess they called it byproducts of gasoline or something, and it was a cheaper fuel. So you would start it on the starting tank, and then once it's running smoothly, you'd switch it over so it runs on the all fuel. And then you had to remember at the end of the day to switch it back to gas so that it started good the next time you used it.
Hello, my name's Bernie Salt. This is my 1948 Oliver 77. We found out that they made 38,000 of these, and this one was made on the first day. It's the number 7th Oliver made. We've called a few people, and they don't know of the one that's any older or lower number than this one. It's got some unique stuff on it that a lot of them didn't have. The front strip was plain, so my brother Dale put that Oliver on there, you know, and it's got a gas turn off, which a lot of them don't have on the outside. But I found it over by the Allegan Forest. This guy was using it to run a generator, and I bought it, and we didn't realize what we had till we got it home and checked the numbers on it and found out it was number 7. And so we believe that it came to Battle Creek in 1948 when the Oliver bought the Nichols and Shepard a machinery company. They brought 3 tractors to show the people there what the Oliver looked like, and we believe this is one of the 3 tractors that came to Battle Creek from Iowa. But Dale restored it for me. My son-in-law Rick found it on eBay actually, and so it's been a family thing. We really enjoyed it. It's going to stay in the family because it's a keepsake, you know. And But we bought new side curtains for it, and we obviously Dale painted it and put tires on it, and you know, you can pay $1,200 for a tractor, but when you get done, you got more than $1,200 into it, you know, and that's what this one boils down to. But it's something that we thoroughly enjoy. So you can turn your gas on and off right from here, where most of them you got to go in and get to the bulb and turn it off on the bulb, but this is on here. And another thing is, when they put the head on this tractor, they put the numbers on, and then when they put it on the tractor, the numbers were upside down. So, and they only did that on the first 200 tractors made. So we have converted it to a 12 volt from a 6 volt. That's the only thing that's probably not original on the tractor. That kicks it over a little faster. As you can see, I got my little signs on here with my name and everything on it, and says what it is. And it's a nice old tractor. This one here, we know it was a display model, but this tractor here would be good for cultivating, and it would pull a 3-bottom plow pretty easily, you know. So other than that, you know, it was a good standard tractor. Like I say, they sold 38,000 of them. And everywhere you go, you see them. They're Oliver 77s all over the place. But this one's number 7, and it's pretty special.
Well, a lot of you know that I've been collecting toy tractors for over 40 years, close to 50 now. And some of them I kept when I was a kid, and I've still got them, and I just keep adding. And there's something to look at when the snow's flying and you can't do anything else, or even today when it's too hot to be outside. It gives you an idea. You can put displays together and show people how we do this, how we do that, and so on. They're pretty intricate. You could say it's like for a wannabe farmer, but that's what you do. The era we're getting into now, old boys like me aren't around anymore, so when you talk to a younger collector, you don't even know what a 2-cylinder tractor looks like. But that's what we keep the toys for, so you can see what they are. They're kind of from 1960 earlier. Nobody can remember back that far except for a few of us. So that's about the way it is. The later ones is what everybody uses now, and they have the price of the early ones have gone down and the price of the later ones have gone up, most part. But I like the old ones because that's what I grew up with. This is a model of a 1945 John Deere A. The earlier model when it was styled, and when you look on the box, somebody's got an A on the hood, and it's not supposed to have an A on the hood, but that's the way it is. But this is the 75th anniversary of Ertl is what this model's made for. So Ertl's been making toys for 75 years. But the reason I picked up this tractor, because it is just like the one that my grandfather had on the farm we're on when I was first able to know what a tractor was. So I think I drove this when I was 4 or 5 years old, before he traded it in on a 60. And I've got one over in the other barn, but this is a electric start, battery under the hood, and it just kind of reminds me of what I started out with. And so I haven't forgot what it's like, and they're still there. And Ertl came out with this with all the accessories in there, and it's kind of dusty, so they call it a barn find. And I guess you could go look at mine because that's the way it looks. I can stand here and remember when my grandpa stood by the side and pushed on the starter with his hand because it was didn't quite work right on the seat. So I'd stand up there and hold on the steering wheel, and he'd put his hand on the starter and get it going. So I'm going to show you the model I got the last show I went to, that was 3 months ago. Got this down at the Auburn show, and it's a model of a potato digger. And this is a 4-row model, and it's actually built up in Vestaburg, Michigan. But this was made for a expo that happens in Wisconsin, in Portage County, Wisconsin. And the show was in 2014. So this is a pretty wide, this is a 42nd scale, so the thing on the road is pretty wide. I've had to meet them before, and you find out what's in the ditch because you got to get over. And they also make a 6-row model. This is 4-row, and they make a 6-row model also. But it digs the potatoes, cleans the dirt off, and runs them around, and eventually runs them into a truck that's long beside. But it's got some John Deere things on it. The cab and the engine, I think, are John Deere. It's kind of a unique piece, but I saw this down at Auburn when I went to that show like 3 months ago, and I said, I got to have one of those. So this was kind of a neat little bugger. And most people have seen them when they go past, but they don't see exactly what they're like. So this is a very detailed model of it. So if you like potatoes, this is where they come from. This is a model of a current issue John Deere combine. This is called the S780, and it runs a 12-row head, and it will run up to a 40-foot grain platform. And if you want one, take your next 400,000 and we can get you one. This is the first time they built a 16th scale model. They were supposed to build a 16th scale model of a 95 55 years ago, and they didn't do it. When they chose to do it this year, I decided I needed to get one. This is a limited edition. They've got them done, and they destroyed the molds already, so there won't be any more built. And I got a chance to get one. So I said, I'm going to get one now. But it's really intricate. Die cast is pretty hard to put together, and it went together a lot of pieces. I think there's 50-some pieces in here. It's pretty detailed. The auger swings, a ladder can swing around, and it's got all the detail you could want on it. It's what they call a prestige model. It's not a precision, but the prestige. Just the way that sits weighs 40 pounds. So you don't put it on something like a piece of cardboard. It ain't gonna hold it up.